NBC 10 at Issue.
NBC 10 at Issue continues. I'm Steve Highsmith, and with me is candidate for U.S. Senate Joe Sestak. Some people who don't like Arlen Specter say they have not seen in you, if you believe all these ads are false, the kind of fire that would give them confidence that you could beat Pat Toomey in the fall. Aren't you angry if all these things are so 100% false?
Steve, it's much like President Obama said, that they can say anything they want about me. But we have to end this type of politics where you will say anything and smear anybody just to keep your job. You know, I took on somebody in my district, a 20-year incumbent Republican, and we won. And then because we gained the confidence of everyone by increasing the small business contracts from the federal government 3 times, we just had to put yard signs out. No. Will I beat Pat Toomey? He gets 50% of the vote against Arlen Specter. Against me, only 33% of the vote.
Fair is fair. Polls this early, you can't judge anything. You wouldn't want to go by the polls of 6 months ago.
But at the same time, they're consistent in all 13 polls that have been done. Right. So the bottom line here is, do you have results when you actually are out there?
You said a few weeks back that basically someone in the White House or representatives representing the White House speaking for them, offered you some sort of job if you would either not get in or would get out of the race. Do you stand by that?
Yes. I was asked a question by Larry Kane. Something happened last summer. Never brought it up. But he brought it up, and I answered it honestly.
So, yes, it happened. And can you say who it is?
No, I think much as some of the things that have already been out there, that people tend, like Arlen Specter, to want to bring things up that actually distract the state from the issues that they want to talk about.
But it would say a lot about President Obama. It would say a lot about people who are opposing you if they tried to, in essence, say, hey, don't worry about it, Joe, we'll take care of you. And they're not backing you right now. Are you not saying it because you want their backing later on? Or, I mean, why can't we know who offered you this job?
Because what matters are people. People have lost their jobs. Arlen Specter voted for those policies that devastated and ripped them apart in their economy and their livelihoods and their hopes for their children for the future. And people want to talk about negative smear tactics? No, they don't. Arlen Specter does, and any politician in Washington, D.C., and they've been there too long, Steve. They've got to be changed. And at the end of the day, I'm not in this for a deal. I'd be willing to lose my job, and that's why I didn't run for my congressional job simultaneously, to demonstrate to people that, yeah, I would do what's needed for them, and that's what they need, a fighter for them.
Right, Pat Toomey says he basically likes the Arizona immigration law or understands it. Your reaction?
No. It's the wrong law, but it happened because the Senate for too long hasn't been courageous enough to stand up to those types of issues, immigration that are federal issues, cap and trade bills, the type of ability to have the right education and health care.
How would you protect the borders? Prevent 500,000 people a year from coming in?
Without a question. I changed the law when I got down there. For unmanned air vehicles, where they limited to only 4, and I said, bring in my military experience, put them up there and look down, and you can do it much more efficiently and effectively. But there's much more to be done. We have to solve this issue comprehensively and do it by not only a principled compromise, but by the courage to stand up and say, put this issue behind us by a principled compromise.
We've got to run through this quickly. Should the big banks be broken up, yes or no?
No. However, we have to bring ability, which our law does, into bankruptcy when they are ready to fail.
The BP oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico proof that we should not drill, baby, drill?
The president has gone too far. We already are 84 million acres out there the oil companies can drill on, and they haven't even begun. Use it or lose it.
Last question. The Pew Research poll says nearly 2/3 of Americans do not believe the $787 billion stimulus package the president passed last year has helped create jobs. Do you believe it has?
It has slowed the hemorrhaging of jobs. Now what we have to do is what I have proposed. Small businesses create 80% of all jobs. A tax credit with majority of Pennsylvanians work in a small business would create 15 million jobs in 2 years. We've got to get back to the market. That bill, however, was harmed because the Senate, Arlen Specter put it on his website, pulled out $100 billion. That would have helped close Pennsylvania's budget gap, and we wouldn't have as much hemorrhaging. No, Steve, it was necessary to be done because Rick Santorum, Arlen Specter, and Pat Toomey voted for George Bush's devastating policies. We never should have needed an economic stimulus bill.
I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
See you and Arlen Specter again soon. Coming up, the race for Pennsylvania governor and Democrat Jack Wagner when NBC 10 at Issue continues. Thank you, sir.
You're watching NBC 10 at Issue.